Welcome back, everybody. It is October 1st of 2023, and this is episode 58 of What is on My Desk. Welcome back, everybody, to another in these videos. So we're going to be taking a good look at some new stuff. This is going to be a long video. I'm going to put that right out at the front. I've got progress on the kits to show you. I've got quite a bit of stuff I collected at both Airshow London. I guess I was nothing from Aero Gatineau. So a bunch of stuff from Airshow London. Some swag that I picked up. So we're going to go through that and then we'll take a look at those kits. So down below, I'll have some chapters set up if you want to jump to a specific update on the kits or you want to skip certain things. You can use those chapters to jump around as you want. There has been progress on kits. September's been busy with the two air shows, Airshow London, and then a week later, Airshow Gatineau, and I've had a few things at work that have kept me going. So I have had some time to sit on the desk, so you will see progress. I might be repeating some stuff from the last month's video. I haven't gone back to see exactly what I covered. So I think there's a few steps here where I'll show you progress, which was progress that I actually did in August and you've seen already, but it is what it is. And before we jump into this, as always, my name is Sean, and this is Sean's Aviation. And quickly, just before we jump into the body of this video, I want to say thank you to everybody out there who is watching this. If you haven't yet and you enjoy what you watch, down below, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. The like will allow the algorithm to push these videos out to more people with similar interests as you and me. And the subscribe and the notification will just allow you to know when I release new videos, which I tend to do about once a week, give or take. And now also, we broke the 1,000 subscriber mark. So thank you everybody out there who has subscribed. That is a huge milestone. I don't get any fancy plaque for it, but just for my own internal kind of milestone, that's huge. That's a big one. I honestly never really expected to hit that. So thank you for everybody who is out there doing it. I mean, as I've said many times in these videos, I'm just doing what I love and I get to take you along for the ride. So it's very nice to know and very humbling to know that there's that many people. I mean, 1,000 people is not a lot, but that there's that many people out there who enjoy watching what I do. So again, thank you. Now, the next kind of big one is going to be hitting the 3,000 watch hours. Apologies for that. The 3,000 watch hours in the previous year. And I'm very close to hitting that number. And when I do hit that number, it allows me to take this channel to the next level. And I can link some merch to this channel. And I have been working on some stuff in the background. I have a couple of t-shirt ideas that I'm working on. Nothing too crazy. And I got some stickers. I do have my first sticker out. It's just my simple logo. It's on a nice mat. A matte thing. I have a couple of other ideas for kind of like merit badge style stickers that are photography and model building related. So keep an eye out for those. These, I don't have these really, no, I shouldn't say that. I do have a few of these available on different sites, and I will have, especially Teespring, I'll have linked to the channel once I hit that milestone for the shirts and stickers. But these stickers are very expensive when you order through third-party vendors, and I ordered these directly from a vendor, from a producer. So if there is any interest in these, and I'll show some more as I go, but if there is any interest in me, message me, send me an email through my website, any of that kind of stuff, and I can sell these things directly to you for very little money if you are interested. But I just do this for fun. I've been handing these things out like crazy at air shows and stuff with people. You have a website? Yeah, here you go. So that's a lot easier than business cards and stuff. People can stick them places. My daughters have them inside their backpacks. They're all over the house. So it's much cheaper to buy directly from me for those kind of things if you're interested. And as I said, I do have more designs that I will be bringing out as time goes on. So that's enough rambling from me. Let's get swung over to the desk. Let's take a look at my swag and then some progress on the kits. Okay, here we are. Take a quick look at some swag before we move on to before we move on to take a look at the kits. September has been a good month for swag, as I'm sure I have mentioned numerous times in previous videos. I've had two air shows in September. I've had Airshow London beginning of the month, and then Aero Gatineau-Ottawa in the middle of the month. And full disclosure, I'm actually filming this on the 17th of September because I want to put some of this swag away, so it's not just piled on my desk awaiting this video. So I was actually at Aero Gatineau yesterday. We'll go over some of that in a bit. I'm going to start with what I got at Airshow London, which was last weekend for me now, which was actually the weekend of September 9th and 10th, or yeah, 9th and 10th. Was the actual weekend. So I was there Thursday, Friday, a little bit on Thursday, plus Friday, plus Saturday. So I got a lot of swag on Thursday, and then some on, some swag on Friday, some swag on Saturday, based off of when I could get stuff and who was available for whatever. So I'll start with some of the stuff. I'm a coin guy, as I'm sure you've known. I'll start with some of the swag I got that is not coin related. Not everybody had coins, and the downside to the air shows are it's simply, especially Airshow London and Gatineau, they're late in the season. Most units have gone through the vast majority of their swag, and it's end of budget season, so they don't have new stuff. So getting coins late in the season can be difficult, so it's harder to get. But I got some other stuff. So this was from, now I don't have the units off the top of my head. If I do the research, I will put them on the screen as I'm going through this. These are the stickers. And then I also got the patch. And these are from the KC-135 unit from, I'll zoom in just a hair here so you guys can see a bit better. These are the KC-135 units that was out of Fairchild Air Force Base out in Washington. So as I said, no coins, but they had a couple of different things, and I got the patch and the stickers. I'll put some stickers up at work and the patches. I want to make a patch board, just a big board that I can paint like white or gray or camo or something, and I'll just stick patches to it, and then I have a place to put all my patches and I can hang it up somewhere. So anyways, this was on that KC-135 unit. And then let's see if I can remember what was what. This, again, I'll put unit numbers up across the screen as I'm doing this because I can't remember unit numbers. This one's easy, VMM266. This was the US Marine V22 unit. I was pretty lucky to get that. I went by at about 11 o'clock Saturday morning and they still weren't set up to sell anything. And I was talking to somebody else who was at the show, and they were saying that it was late in the afternoon before they were fully set up to sell on Saturday. So I'm glad I got that when I did. The 180th Airlift Squadron, that is the C-130 that was there. That was the, I want to say it was the Wyoming Air National Guard or Missouri Air National Guard. Again, I'll put stuff on the screen here while I'm doing my editing. But this was from the C-130 unit that was on static display. This was a cool one because they weren't set up to sell any merch, and he just kind of ripped this off his arm and handed it to me, so that was always cool. And then the H-60, the US Navy H-60 unit, that is their patch, HSM-46, the Grandmasters. Kind of like the whole like low tan color of it, kind of a deployment style patch. So I got that as well. And then finally I have this from the 114th Fighter Squadron. This is the Oregon Air National Guard F-15s. Again, no coins. So going through, basically they had sold out on coins. They were sold out on coins. They never had any. They were sold out of coins, and they were sold out of coins just because it's late in the season. A little bit annoying, but it was what it was. Now, that all being said, a lot of guys had a lot of really cool stuff. I don't know everything that the V22 had because, as I said, they weren't fully set up for selling. The one guy I bought this off of had an extra one in his pocket that he sold. Out of that, it wasn't from the official store, so I don't know what all they had. I know they had some t-shirts. I never saw their full setup. I never saw the full setup. These guys, this guy, I never saw the Herc at all. The H-60 had a couple of things set up, but just some patches and whatnot. Same with these guys, it was just patches and stickers. The Oregon F-15 guys had a ton of stuff. T-shirts, hats, patches, all kinds of cool stuff. And the really cool thing is they had a couple of 20mm shell casings. So I bought a full casing. I actually gave that one to my daughter. And then they had these, which are, the top is cut off of the casing. The kind of pinched part has been cut off, and it's actually been filled with food grade resin or epoxy, and you can use this as a shot glass. It's actually designed, they came in a set. I only bought the one. So it's got the 173rd Fighter Wing crest on it. I'm not sure how well that's going to show up on camera, but I'm not going to drink out of it. It's going to sit over here on my shelf with the rest of my glasses and beer bottles and everything else that's connected to that. So I got those. And then moving on to coins, I did get quite a few coins. I'm going to go through these in a specific order because there is a specific order to them. So we'll start with the Pittsburgh KC-135. 75th anniversary of that was this year, from the Pennsylvania Air National Guard, 1948 to 2023. So they had some cool stuff going on there, and that was their official coin with the KC-135 on it, and it's got the Pittsburgh Steelers logo on it because Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. I also got from the RC-135 unit, 38th Reconnaissance Squadron, and they had two different I don't know exactly what the difference are. I'll have to look at the difference between these two coins. So this is Top Cats, Rivet Joint, Combat Scent, Cobra Ball, 338th Combat Training Squadron from off at Air Force Base, Nebraska. And this is the 338th. This is just the 38th RS. So I don't know if that's Reconnaissance Squadron. I don't quite know the difference. These were both sold from the same RC-135. This one's a bit of like a heritage coin. On one side, it shows the RC-135 with the blue and red. And on the back side, it shows the history, the P-38, the P-51, and then the B-47. So I don't know the story behind the different unit numbers. I have to do the research on that. But both of these came from the RC-135. Always need to have that. Now the rest all came from the same, all from the same unit. So I'll start with this coin, which is the mechanic unit. So these all came from the KC-46, which was based at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. So you see 9/16/9/11th marks of pride, aim high, fly, fight, win, knuckle busters. So it's the mechanics with the wrench across the coin. On the back, integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. It says crew chiefs, jets, GAC. So it's all of the different ground crews, basically. All the different ground crews have this coin. So it's a little different. It has a number, 152. I don't know if every coin is numbered or if that's the same on every coin, but I figured that was a neat one to have. I like different, so that was always cool. And then they had this one, which again is just a slightly different shape. And it's from the same Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, North Carolina, once a Red Eagle, always a Red Eagle. It's the 9/11th Air Refueling Squadron, and that's the same where it says 9/11th on here. So this is the maintenance for both, I guess, the 9/16th and the 9/11th. I don't know what the 9/16th flies. It's on the back here. Yeah, I can't really make it out. I have to do a bit of research on these still. But this is for the 9/11th Fueling Squadron. And on the side, you see it shows the KC-135. Currently, they fly the KC-46. So you know this is just a little old. It says presented by the 9/11th Air Refueling Squadron Commander for Excellence. And then it has the sign, little thing across the set. So it's kind of like a gift coin. And then this one was actually given to me. When the KC-46 came in, we were kind of hanging out, and I ended up helping mechanic put the engine covers on, and he presented this to me, Red Eagle Nation 911th Air Refueling Squadron Tankermeister Award, presented for excellence from the commander, and it's across all of the different things. Yes?
I can feel the edge of my tooth like coming out. Like I
okay.
felt it with my.
I know, but don't play with it too much. It's gonna fall out. Okay, I'm just gonna finish filming something and then I can come upstairs, okay?
I want it to fall out.
I know, but I don't want you to hurt yourself. Okay, listen, I'm gonna finish filming something, then I'm gonna come up, okay?
What are you filming?
For my video. So I'll be up in a minute, okay?
I'm gonna stay down.
Okay, but you have to be very quiet. Yeah, so I don't know exactly why this was presented, what the difference is between these two different coins. I'm sure there is a difference, but again, I paid for this one and this one was given to me. So yeah, I have to kind of check out what all of the differences across all of these mean, and I don't really know. Oh, there we go. Let's put this one back in this one so I don't lose it. Yes, and then finally I got this one, which is the KC46 coin. It's interesting. It's only a one-sided coin, which you don't see too much of in the coin world. But it's got the 911th Air Refueling Squadron Outstanding Performer with the KC-46s and the squadron logo. So there's a lot of different things for this unit. But again, it's just kind of cool to have a bunch of different coins. So that's most of the... No, I take that back. I also got from the Arizona Air National Guard, I got this, a lithograph of the KC-135. And I had the crew sign it while they were there. So that was always cool. I have quite a few of the, I don't think they had a coin. I don't believe I have a coin for those guys, but I have some patches and stickers and stuff from those guys from the past. But I figured a nice lithograph is always nice. I got a ton of lithographs in the closet. I got to actually find a place to hang them all or do something with. But anyways, so that's kind of the swag that I brought back from for London. I just got to go through and put all that out where it belongs. And then this past weekend in Aero Gatineau, the German A400 was there, and they had a ton of swag. No coins, but tons of patches and t-shirts and all that. Unfortunately, I didn't have any cash. I had a $20 bill on me, and their patches were $25. So I didn't have enough to buy one of those, and with the kids and everything, I was using the money to buy food and snacks and stuff. So by the time I got to the A400, I only had a 20 left, and it wasn't enough to buy anything. They had stickers, but I mean, stickers, and it's coin patches, stickers, and honestly, there was nothing really that caught my eye. So he's taking a sip of coffee. But what I did end up getting from the hobby shop, the hobby center, the same place that I go and buy most of my supplies at, they set up every year. They had the new RCAF 100 coin, and it was something I'd been meaning to buy. I was going to buy from Canex. I didn't. I bought from him. So yeah, I got the RCAF 100 coin. As I said, I wanted to buy it from the Canex or whatnot, but he had it, and I figured I would buy it. So this is this right here, Your Air Force 100, 1924-2024, and then the history of the Canadian roundel, from the original British roundel to the early 1950s roundel and the post-1968 roundel. So next year is going to be the Canada 100th anniversary, the RCAF's 100th anniversary. It's going to be a big week, a big year. So I was very happy to get the commemorative coin that goes along with that and add that to the collection. So it's nothing too crazy, but I mean, it's gonna be a big year next year, and I wanted to get that coin well in advance of it potentially selling out. And as well, while I was there, I picked up this, and this is something that I had remember reading about or seeing, and it kind of filed it away in the back of my head, and then I forgot about it. It's the evolution of the snowbirds. It came out 2021. And it was written, I believe it was written by a gentleman in England. It's kind of a magazine style, with the stapled edges and all that. It's a little pricey, but it's got tons of research in it. So there's a bit of a history of the whole thing, and then you've got all the different paint schemes. So it starts off talking about the Golden Centenaires and its paint scheme, and it goes through the evolution. The early snowbirds, 71, 72, then 74 to 76. And then we've done the page, all the different variations, because the top and bottom for the most part didn't change, but what did change were some of the side markings. So here's 77, 86, 87, 92, 93, 95, then 2016 to 2017, which I don't know the difference. Oh, the script changed on the word snowbirds. And then from 2018 to present, the current markings, and then the evolution of the roundels, the evolution of the bottom of the wing, the changes along the roundel and the fuselage with the different markings, and then some of the special schemes. So in 94, they had the they had the invasion stripes on the special for the anniversary in 94 of D-Day. Then the 2017 with all the flags, and then in 2021 the special scheme for the 50th anniversary. And then it goes through just some of the other markings that carried all the variations in the numbers on the rudder as they show the different. I'll go back here for a second because you can see here. Here, see they show the different numbers. Each aircraft has the different numbers in the tail. So on the rudder. So this actually shows the variation in the numbers and the font and everything as they used over the different years over the rudder. And these are some of the special stickers they've carried on the horizontal stabs for the different events throughout their history, all the way up to 2021 with the 50th anniversary. And then from the cockpit, they go through and talk about kind of where they fly, the seat colors, where they fly in the formation. And then they show, here's some quick pictures of the cockpit so you can see some of the detail in there. Then you've got all the different kind of changes of how they've done the pilots over the years. The way the pilot names have been marked, the different fonts and stuff that they've used over the years. So all of that is described here. And then you go into smoke systems, tanks, some of the antennas and the details. It shows you the area that's got the flat white paint on the nose for anti-glare. Again, some of the changes in the fuselage, the pitot tube, your tank cam, and then some of the support aircraft, the different variations in the support aircraft. So, yeah, it's amazing. And then here's all the different T-33s they've used. And then on the next page, they show the T-33s top and bottom with their different schemes. So it's an unbelievable amount of information packed into this one little book. So I'm very, very happy to have that. 2 seconds here. The battery was dying after the air show, so I wanted to get it plugged in. One other thing I got, I'm not going to go through any type of full-blown review on these right now. I'll be doing the standard kind of kit reviews later for these. So one of the pilots, Joe Cosmano, who flies the Potter Collection's Hurricane Mark 12. I've built models for him in the past. I'll throw a picture up here. If I believe I took a picture of it. I painted a model up as the old Hurricane Mark 4 that Vintage Wings flew that he flew. It's since been sold. He now flies the current one and he wants a new model built in the current scheme. So he provided me with 2 kits to be able to build up to one. So one of them, they're both in 1/24th scale. One is the Airfix Hurricane Mark 1 and one is the Trumpeter Hurricane Mark 1. So you can see the absolute beast of a size of these things. I've merged the instructions because I was poking away at them. I was browsing the instructions while I was at the air show. Now, unfortunately, this was pinched inside the box. They folded the box on the decals, and I don't know how well they'll turn out in the long run. But this is the old, I don't even know if there's a date on here. I'd have to go through and look. But these are the old Airfix 1/24 scale kit. I believe this dates back to like the 60s or 70s. You know what? Give me 2 seconds. Since I'm close to the computer, I'll actually look up 1/24th Airfix Hurricane. And I'm going to go to ScaleMates and I will see when this kit was initially designed. Airfix, new tool, 1973. So this is an original 1973 mold. So it's going to have all the issues of one of these older kits with some chunky detail, lots of flash, all the usual issues. So I don't think I'm going to use this one. Because I said I'll just do a quick. I'm not gonna go through sprues or anything of this, but you can see you build up kind of the exhaust stacks go into place. So this is if you're building it without the engine exposed. You glue all the cowlings in place and glue the exhaust stacks. If you're building it with the engine open, you build up the whole engine here in step 2. Step 3 is more engine stuff. 4 is the firewall. 5, you're starting to assemble the cockpit. All that stuff. 6 is the oil tank, instrument panel, all of that goes together. And then into steps 9, you're doing tail wheel. 10 is rudder. 11 is some of the interior fuselage details and gluing the fuselage together. 12 is the horizontal stabs. 13, you're doing the gun bays. 14 is wheel well. 15 is the under fuselage radiator. 16 is all of the wings. And then you got into the landing gear, glue the radiator in place. Difference between wheels up, wheels down, which you got to give them credit for when they did this, you know, what's the 73, 50 years ago, that they had that already in mind to do the difference between wheels up and wheels down. And then it finishes up with some of the final detailing, and then it includes a stand, which is nice. And then the color callouts, there is a full color sheet that gives you the different color callouts. So this is the dark earth, dark green over sky with the roundels. Apparently they give you an alternate brighter shade of red, which is interesting. Anyways, so you get all your different decals for that. This is a aircraft flown by Flight Lieutenant Ian Richard Gleed from number 87 Squadron in August of 1940, right in the heart of Battle of Britain. And on the back side here, this aircraft, same paint scheme, is from Lieutenant Peter Townsend, commanding officer, number 85 Squadron, Royal Air Force, in England, October of 1940, so just after the Battle of Britain. The Battle of Britain ended in September of 1940. So that's just a, yeah. Those are the paint schemes that are included. Decals, as I mentioned. So you've got the lighter shade available if you want to do the lighter shade of the roundels. Never really seen that before, but probably it's because it's going to match the spinner and everything else. But anyways, so that's what's included in this one. I don't think I'm going to be using this one to build up the kit for the pilot, as this Airfix kit is a bit of a pig from what I can tell, being 50 odd years old. I'm probably going to use this Trumpeter 124th one because it's from 2006. So it's a bit more of a modern tooling. It's got the recessed panel lines. It'll look a lot more realistic when everything is built up. It still includes the full engine, and I'm going to look at the possibility of having the cowlings come on and off as needed. It's got the rubber tires. I'm going to find out from from Joe what he wants done. It's got the photo etch seat belts, so it's got everything in this thing. So I'm going to find out from him kind of how he wants this built. The last one I built for him, if I didn't send the picture up, I'll do it now. The last one I built for him was also a Trumpeter kit, and it turned out really nicely. But here you can see the assembly of the cockpit, instrument panel, oil tank, and the engine, and all of that goes together. And then the horizontal stabs, some more details inside the fuselage. You glue the fuselage together, and then you get all the little cowling bits. This is where I want to see if the cowlings will just sit in place, because if they do, I can swap them out. Or I might even be able to magnetize them. I got to figure this out. I got to see how I'm going to do this. But all of this goes together. Here you got fuel tanks, oil tank, all that stuff goes into the wings. And then you could do the gun bays, full gun bays and all that stuff if you want to do that way. Some more wing stuff. The covers go in place. Again, I'll see if I can make them so they can pop out and he can show off if he wants to. Then you do the landing gear and then the radiator housing, and then the tail wheel, and you do some of these nice actuators up inside and all that kind of stuff. And then here the wheels get glued on. Your exhausts look like they'll go together really nicely. And then your final bit, the canopy is actually movable as well. So I got to find out from Joe what he wants to do. Instructions, decal placements. Here you got one from number 87 Squadron, which is actually the exact same aircraft that's included in the Airfix scheme, interestingly enough. So that's the one scheme available, and then the other one here is from 257 Squadron, England in 1940. So it's probably another Battle of Britain. It's got the red and white spinner, which is a nice touch. It's got the black wing too, which is going to be the same way that the current one, the one I'm building up for Vintage Wings. He wants it done as the current LEA aircraft, flown by Vintage Wings, and this is the scheme it flies in with the black wing, which is good because it gives me all the roundels and everything I need. And all I got to worry about will be some of the more detailed markings, and I'll put a picture up of what that needs to look like when I'm finished, what the aircraft is going to look like in the scheme flown by Vintage Wings. But I'll have to reach out to Joe and find out kind of what he wants. Wheels up, wheels down. Do you want the engine exposed? Do you want the engine not exposed? Do you want me to use the Airfix stand, build my own stand? Like, what do you want? there's a whole bunch of stuff I got to figure out from him before I can move forward with that. But I'm going to finish the current kits I'm working on now. Then I'll get a start on those kits. One of those is my next round of building. And then whatever one, he said I could keep whatever one I don't use. So I don't quite know what I'm going to do with that kit. I'll figure it out. Whether I keep it for myself or sell it off or trade it, or I don't even know what a 124 scale Airfix Hurricane goes for these days. I'll have to do that research. But anyways, long story short, that is my next plan. And yeah, so on that note, I don't suspect I'll get any more swag in the next 2 weeks because we done airshow season and all that other fun stuff, and I don't have anything coming on the way. So I think at this point, I want to wrap this section up, and the next thing you'll see is going to be progress on the models. So let's hop right over and we'll see that progress. So here we are back for another look at where we are for the kits. So I'm going to do the usual start with the same process, I guess. It's the same order as all the others. Start with the F82E, then the Mosquito, then the G, and then on the Lancaster. So the G model, or sorry, the P38E F82. My God, I need to drink another coffee. I'm out of coffee, and I have no more coffee. So I got to go buy a coffee. My mind doesn't want to work. Anyways, F82E. Between the two F82s, it is the farthest behind in progress, but I'm kind of using the G model as a test bed and playing with it, and then moving over to the E, which is weird because this is the one that's going to be built on a stand with everything buttoned up, and the G is the one that's opened up, so I should be doing it the other way. But anyways, so cockpit is completed. I'll zoom in just a hair. So here we go. So as you can see, the cockpits are more or less complete. They are glued in place. I've also got the doghouse interior and the nose intake, the carb. I'm assuming it's the carburetor intake on the nose has also been installed. My next step, I have the pieces in here. It's going to be the instrument panels. That one and that one. The next step is going to be just gluing the instrument panels together, or gluing them in. I've had to do some modification. I'll show you with the other one what I've had to do. They don't really, actually, you know what? I take that back. That's not a horrible fit. The G model had to take a little bit of effort to get them to fit properly, but there's also some modifications I did for that kit, so it was a little different. But anyway, so they just got to be glued into place like that. Actually, you can see how far off that is. So yeah, there's needs a little bit of work to kind of tuck up underneath the housing a little bit, a bit of sanding. I'll show you on the G what I've done to make them fit. So a little bit of work on the instrument panels to get them to fit in there properly, and then I can glue the fuselages together, and then I get to start that fun process of all the puttying and sanding on these. They don't fit very well. You can see how, now there's also some extra work I can do in here to make these seal a bit better, and I'm started that already. But it will, the fit is not the greatest, so it will take quite a bit of work to get all of these to seal properly. But I'm working on that. So anyways, that's the next step for these guys, just getting the instrument panels glued in, getting the fuselages glued together, and then start working away on some of the seams. Mosquito looks a lot more finished than it really is. Everything is just put together. It's just placed. The wings just slide right off. These wings are glued together. I have to work along these seams a little bit. I want to get the wingtips glued in, go through and clean up all these seams a little bit, and then I can get like the engine nacelles put together, get all that finalized on each wing before I glue them together. And then the fuselage is very close to being ready to be glued together. I haven't done in here, I forgot to paint that silver when I did the last round, well, aluminum, when I did the last round of aluminum paint, so I got to do that. I'll probably just brush it by hand because you're really not going to see much of it. It's going to be sitting wheels down on the ground, so as long as it's done, I'm not worried. The interior is, for the most part, finished. I haven't glued this section to the rest of it. It's just kind of sitting there. That's that is the next step. I got to get that glued. Yeah, there's some positive positioning tabs which make it really nice to get it in there. There's a little bit of play, kind of like this. You can see the piece likes to move a little bit. So I want to get that glued on, and just as it's starting to set up, while I still have a little bit of play with it, I'm going to slide it into the fuselage halve and then allow the fuselage halves to really lock that in place once it's starting to set. And that will solidify this nice. Then I can still slide it out. I can go through and add a bunch of liquid glue to really lock all this together and seal it. And then it's, I got to double check the instructions, but I think once this is all finalized and glued together, I can glue the interior in and get the fuselage halves put together. So it's starting to look really, really good. I really like the interior on this. Tamiya kits just feel great when they go together. Just a little bit of effort with the weathering and the black wash, and it just makes it pop. So I'm very, very happy with this, especially with the fighter version with the side door on it. It's going to be really, really nice to be able to poke your head in, not really, you know, figuratively, not literally, but stick your head in and look inside that little door, look around in the cockpit. It's going to make it really easy to show off that detail that's inside the cockpit. So once you button it up, you lose a lot of it, especially when the canopy is going to be glued in. But having that ability to pick it up and kind of look down inside, you know, that door to see the inside of it's gonna be really, really nice. And I'm gonna leave the gun nose, the nose section, most likely off. So being able to look, see the guns, all the ammo cans and everything again, it's gonna be a nice finished model with lots of detail to look at. And then it's overall black. I'm gonna do a little bit of weathering, a little bit of variation in the black paint, but for the most part, it's gonna be overall black. So the exterior is gonna be a little bland, but inside will really make it all pop. So that's coming along. The G model, as I said, I've been kind of doing more work on the G model than I have on the E model. So it's basically at the same point on this half. This is the pilot's half, the left fuselage of the two fuselages. So again, I've got the doghouse interior and the carb intake glued in place. Again, that's going to need quite a bit of cleanup once I get the fuselages glued together. I'm going to have to get in there and sand down. I'll probably be using, I'm not going to use some putty down in there. I'm probably going to use Mr. Surfacer. It's a little bit easier to clean up, but I got to get through there and just clean all that up, make it look nice and smooth, as good as I can. Otherwise, the interior on this one, I used that 3D decal set. In there. It had some problems. The seat belts didn't like to conform very well. They cracked and fell apart. I mentioned this in the when you watch the time lapse. You'll see the details of me installing all of these. But yeah, the seat belts didn't conform very well. I like the instrument panels and the sidewall detail and stuff like that. But for seat belts, if you want to do an aftermarket seat belt, I recommend either a photo etch. Or those fabric ones. There's a couple of companies that make real like fabric, or they're made from like the Tamiya masking tape or whatever, and they're a lot more flexible. And the photo etch, it's a little more stiff because it's brass, but it's at least flexible. It's malleable. You can bend it. These, they just shatter. There's no flex. You can't get around tight corners, so it just doesn't like tight corners, and it's not quite as realistic as I would have liked. But otherwise, it's all ready to go. The instrument panel is glued in. You can see across the back. So the couple of things I had to do with the instrument panels, there were those little tabs that stuck out on the side. If you compare it to the unmodified E model, also this has the photo etch, or the 3D decal on it, so it's a little bit more detailed. But if you look at the difference, I've cut these little tabs off on the sides in order to allow them to fit tighter. Might not be 100% accurate, but it fits. And then underneath the instrument panel combing, I used a round sanding stick, and I got in there and I sanded that curve down a little bit. So instead of being square, it has a little curved lip. And then on the back of the instrument panel, you'll see I sanded down. So again, instead of being square, it's got a little bit of an angle. And then that, instead of having two squares that are trying to butt up, I rounded this and I rounded this, and it allows it to get in there nice and tight. And it gives me some space. There might still be a bit of a gap across the top. I might just fill that with some white glue and touch it up with the combings will be painted black, so it'll hide a lot of this. It won't stand out as much between the instrument panel and this combing. So once I get it all glued together, I'll fill in as many gaps as I can, clean it all up, paint it black, and again, hide the worst of it. But otherwise, she goes together quite nicely, all things considered. I think there's a little bit of instrument panel work I need to do, just a little bit. You can see it's rubbing up here in this top corner, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of sanding, a little bit more sanding on this piece and a little bit more sanding on that piece just to make sure they line up properly. It's not horrible, but it kicks the instrument panel just out on a slight angle. Doesn't look quite right, so I'm gonna have to just get in there and clean up a little bit in this corner right here, just a little bit. Sand this little corner off right here, clean up that side, and then it'll fit together. This is the pilot side, like I said, the left fuselage. The radar operator side, can't lose that. Oop. Piece of the instrument panel fell off when I was gluing them in, and I don't want to lose the little piece. Anyways, this is the radar operator side, or the right side. And I've already started to glue this top seam across the top of the fuselage, so it's starting to be glued together already. But you can see that the instrument panel fits really nicely. I can squeeze that forward fuselage and there's no pressure on the instrument panel, so it fits pretty much exactly as I would like. So that's gonna be like, again, with the canopy being open, there's a lot of really nice detail in there. You can get, you know, down inside and look. So yeah, that's why this one was a good fit. I just went ahead and started gluing this one together first. I'm working my way around bit by bit. You know, I'll be a lot of clamping and squeezing and taping and whatnot to get all these seams to close up really, really nice. And then I'll go through and start cleaning up seams and then wings and then seams and seams and seams and seams and seams for ages. Yeah, so that's that. I don't know if I also showed it on the last monthly update or not, but the lower wing, I have the wheel wells painted, and I've also weathered the interior. There's quite a bit of, this just should just come right off. It's just the water-based. It's just the tempera paint I used, so all of that will just come right off before I paint, so I don't get any issues with paint peeling. But yeah, I'm gonna go through it later and clean, prep it all, and get ready to paint. But that's the lower wing. Like I said, I'll see about masking with the actual gear doors. I'll see how tight of a fit it is with that little bit of the blue tack and just stick the doors in place, paint the bottom color, and I can pull the doors off. We'll see, like I said, how the fit fits. But otherwise, it's coming along. I've still got to do the radiators, paint those black, get the dog houses built up. Or the fit between this and the fuselages are just junk. It's going to take a lot of effort to clean all that up and get it to look pretty. But anyways, that is that. Last one's the Lancaster. Rear fuselage. Oh, rear fuselage, I haven't done too much. This probably looks about the same as it would have last time. I think I might have put a little bit more putty in some places and cleaned it up. There's not much else I can or want to do to this until I have a coat of primer on it. I got to go through with a coat of primer and just see how it looks. I've also got to try to rebuild these side pieces at some point. Not entirely sure how that's going to work. I'll figure that out later. I might end up just sanding them off completely and putting on a thin layer of just a thin piece of sheet styrene to replace that shape, because it runs all the way up to the wing and across to the forward fuselage. So I'll just have to see once everything's installed how that shape looks. And then the forward fuselage, again, not much. I've been working on a lot of seams and cleanup. The big thing was getting this nose section glued together. Again, I don't want to do too much more in terms of sanding and puttying, especially this seam or anything in around here, until I have a coat of primer on it. But I couldn't prime until I glued the instrument panel, the canopies on, and I couldn't glue the canopy on until I got some of the interior stuff taken care of. So I finalized all of that, got the canopies glued on, got the nose glued on, and I'm just working my way through masking. Now, luckily, I actually had an Edward masking set for a Lancaster, so I was able to use it for the canopy, and then this I'm just doing by hand with Tamiya tape. So I've only got 4 more windows to go, and then it's fully masked, and I can paint the black on the frames, and then I can start priming these, and that next step, because there's just a lot of puttying and sanding with this. And at least if I can get a coat of primer on it, and I can start working away on these as I'm working away on the F-82 fuselages and cleaning up all the final little bits and pieces that need to be done. And then yeah, then I still have to rescribe this sucker. So that's that. Wings, again, I can't remember what I talked about in the last update. The wings are living down here, but both wings have Both wings have the wing extensions glued on, and I believe this one, I know I need a bit more putty in here and in here, but I want to get a coat of primer on it first just so I can see exactly what I need, and especially with the cleaning up of all the panel lines. I want to get a coat of primer down, then I can go through and clean up a lot of that, work out some of the sanding marks, make sure there's no little panel lines. Like I think there's some shadows of the lines still hiding in some places. So I want to get a coat of primer on it, actually see what it's going to look like, and then I can poke away at it. Same here. I haven't sanded this bottom stretch yet. There's one more layer of sanding to do, and then I can get a coat of primer on it. Then I can start going through, like I said, seams and corners and cleaning up and making sure that it all looks good. And then again, once the fuselages are primed, that I'm happy with them, and once these wings are primed, that I'm happy with them, then I have to start the process of panel line rescribing, and that's going to be a bit of work. So like I said, I don't think I'm going to finish this conversion, the Lincoln, with the rest of the kits. I think I might get to that rescribing stage, and then I'll put it aside, finish off the other kits I'm working on, and then bring it back out at a later date and continue working away at it. It's a lot of work, and I really don't want to push myself on it. So that's the status on that. Just quickly as well, as a general update on the channel, I am very close I've already hit the 1,000 subscriber. Actually, you know what? Cut all of that. I'm going to talk about all of this at the beginning of the video. Yeah, so this wraps up the model update on this. Just general updates for the channel. I mentioned at the beginning about where we sit in terms of merch and some of the new stuff coming out with that. So please, if you haven't, hit that like, subscribe, all that stuff. Just a couple of more watch hours to kind of take this channel to the next level. So again, thank you for everybody out there. And a lot of Airshow content has come out already. And moving into October, and as we go through into November, and a lot of that other content starts to be finalized, I'm going to start going through a lot of the air shows and pulling out individual acts. So you might go to London and just see, just the Sea Fury, or just the Osprey and the Herc, or just the KC-135s, or just the C-17. From Michigan, I can pull out some more specific acts from Michigan that I didn't already have videos for, the Corsair show, or the MiG-17 show, or the F-35Bs that were flying around. So all that kind of stuff. I can start to pull out specific content and just make specific shows, things like the 415, CL-415 from Aero Gatineau, and the wing walkers from Aero Gatineau. And there's all these little things I can start just putting out in and around all the other videos just to keep the content going. As well, hopefully soon, the new Kinetic Tutor will be released. I'll be getting a few of those, so you might see that kit get pushed into the build sequence sooner rather than later once they get released, and I'll do a full kit review on that once I get it. So there's quite a bit of stuff coming up in the next little while on this channel. So as always, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more content. I'm not planning to stop anytime soon. I have a lot of stuff to go and a lot more cool stuff coming out. So we'll wrap it up here. We'll see you all next time. Thank you for watching.